A bunch of left-wing gutter trolls over in the social septic tank that is Twitter spent Sunday night gleefully dancing on the graves of children, joking about the horrible events in Waukesha, Wisconsin, in order to mock the Rittenhouse verdict. Now you might be wondering, what in the world does a guy mowing down a bunch of people in a parade with his SUV have anything to do with a kid who was found not guilty of murder after defending himself against a violent mob that was trying to bash his head in with a skateboard? And of course, the answer is nothing. But some loony liberals somehow found a way to connect those dots because apparently no level is too low when you're a garbage human being. Here's one Illinois Democrat mocking the Waukesha tragedy and saying the SUV was probably just acting in self-defense, later telling Wisconsin that you reap what you sow. Oh, and she is far from the only one. More than a few other leftists joined in the fun. Here's one saying the real tragedy is that the driver didn't plow through a Trump rally. Here's a Black Lives Matter nut saying that as long as the driver is a white MAGA guy, he should just claim self-defense. Another whack job who somehow has 186,000 followers said the driver will just claim self-defense. It's the new normal. There are tons more. Just go on Twitter and look. No, actually, on second thought, don't do that. It is a terrible, terrible place because there's nothing out of bounds for these bloodthirsty trolls. Even the gruesome deaths of children in the street. Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old kid who was found not guilty after he shot a pedophile, a domestic abuser, and a violent Antifa thug as they were basically trying to beat him to death. And he has absolutely nothing to do with a bunch of school children who were run down during a parade by a maniac fleeing a crime scene. You know who does have to do with that, though? This guy. This is Darrell E. Brooks, the black man who's been arrested as the guy suspected of plowing through the street, killing at least 5, maiming dozens, and traumatizing God only knows how many more. Now, the fact that Brooks is a black man shouldn't amount to a hill of beans, because evil is evil, and I don't care what level of pigment it's got or what color its victims were. But unfortunately today it does matter. Apparently it's just about all that matters. Race is the sole determiner of whether a crime gets talked about by the media for weeks or barely makes the local headlines. Skin color is the only factor when we talk about motive or justice or accountability or whether one person's actions should be used to demonize an entire group of people or political party. We can't talk about the disproportionate levels of violent crime committed by black men, but we can mock children lying dead in the street in order to slam a white kid who the left wants to hang for defending himself against a bunch of violent looters. He's automatically a white supremacist because, well, he's white. And if the left has to make light of a senseless tragedy to score some basement floor points against him, so be it. But then race goes right back out the window when it turns out it was a black dude who ran down some innocent parade goers, a dance crew, and the local high school marching band. Now imagine for just 1 second if this had been a white dude with a gun. Shouldn't matter. A black guy in a truck on the street or a white guy with a rifle in a bell tower. I don't care what warped version of Clue you apply to the situation, evil is evil, violence is violence, and it's all horrific. But had this been a white guy with a matte black firearm, the media would be spending this whole week talking about the epidemic of white male violence, the dangers of semi-fully automatic pistol rifles, and how your Caucasian neighbor with the F-350 is probably a Nazi. Because everything has to tie in to their war on white men and their sick fascination with Hitler and the KKK. And that's never been more obvious than when they rush to mock children lying dead in the street, if it means making a point about a white kid that they've branded as a racist bigot. Those children don't matter. The mothers holding their bleeding daughters in the gutter don't matter. The innocent people whose lives will be forever changed by one man's vile actions don't matter. They're just props to land a cheap blow against a white kid. And then they drop the subject like a hot rock when the skin color of the criminal doesn't fit the left's pre-prescribed narrative. You should be ashamed of yourselves, you sick, sick freaks. This is grotesque, even for the fringiest left-wing lunatics who think taking kids to drag shows is fine and that mentally disturbed men should be able to beat up women in a boxing ring. Your worldview is deranged. Your obsession with race to the exclusion of being an otherwise halfway decent human being is appalling. And the only slightly tolerable thing about you is that at least you're open enough about it that we can all avoid you like the plague you are. And that's your reality check, America. For more news and commentary without all the left-wing bullcrap, like and subscribe to MRCTV's videos on YouTube and Rumble, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter while you still can. And as always, stay sane out there.